John, thank you for taking time being with us today. Tell us a little bit more regarding your story and how did you get into real estate?
I started over 40 years ago. I decided to buy my first home when I was 20. I did that, and then a few years later, I got married, and when I was 22, I decided to buy an investment property, and this is an investment property that I found from a lady that was getting divorced, and she basically just wanted somebody to take over her payments and take possession of the house, which I did. I made up a couple of payments, and this was back in 40 years ago, in the days where banks would allow you to assume mortgages and stuff, which they don't do that anymore. So once I did that, I kind of caught the bug, and really kind of never looked back since. I've done, what I do now, I do a lot of flipping of properties, but I've pretty much done everything in real estate.
And regarding flipping, how long does it usually take you to acquire property, and how long does it usually take you to kind of retouch it and put it back to market and regain your gains again?
Acquiring a property is probably the most difficult thing to do right now, because everybody's doing it. It's like a cottage industry here in the United States. Everybody wants to get into flipping. Again, I've been doing this for 40 years, so I am a full-time real estate agent, and I do market the properties myself at the end of the day once they go back to market. So I have a little bit of advantage in others obtaining properties. So I get them off the multiple listing service. I also buy them directly from the courthouse steps as the banks sell them off when they foreclose on them. I buy them through wholesalers. So there's different avenues that I use to purchase the home. As far as the rehab goes and the time frame, if it's a condominium, something that's attached to other units, it could take me probably 3 weeks at the most to rehab the property. Once I've rehabbed the property, I put it back on the market. It's a very hot market right now. Usually within the first couple of weeks, it's sold. Go to a 30-day escrow. So for a condominium, it's probably the quickest. I'd say probably around 2.5 months to 3 months. For a single family, it takes longer because it takes longer to rehab the property. So it may take me 2 months to rehab the property, 8 weeks, and then putting it back on the market. Usually about the same time frame, anywhere between 2 weeks and a month to sell it, and then to close on it another month after that.
There's always demand for property. So if a new investor will think, okay, let's try flipping properties, there's no reason for him to actually be scared of not selling the property, because this is always in high demand. Is this what you're saying?
Yes, if you do it correctly. And by doing it correctly is you have to know that the price that you're going to sell it for at the end of the day, before you even buy this property, is the correct price. So you have to do your homework. Once you establish what we call the after repair value, the ARV after repair value, then you go backwards and subtract, okay, this is how much I think it's going to cost to rehab the property. This is how much is going to be for closing costs. This is how much profit I want to make it for the property. So then this is my price range. This is what I need to buy this property at this price or below. And then you go from there. So you have to have really all your ducks in a row to get to the end product, which is making money on the flip.
But regarding contractors, because this is like the story, you have to kiss a lot of frogs. The princess has to kiss a lot of frogs until she gets the prince. So contractors are usually not very reliable. So how do you, it's from experience, it's from references, how do you get people to actually quote you something, actually doing the job and not getting cost overruns and completely ruin your profits?
I take it contractors are the same all over the world, because you've described contractors exactly how they are here. And it's really just, honestly, just staying on top of them. I've been fortunate that the last 2 contractors that I've had, to me, it's a long time. I've had them for 3 years now. But you're exactly right. Sometimes they'll come in, they'll do 5, 6 rehabs, and then their prices start to go up, or they don't show up on the job site, things like that. Absolutely. I always have other people available in my back pocket, ready to go if somebody doesn't step up to the plate at that particular time.
So, and regarding the types of the property, what are you looking for? This is kind of a B property in an A neighborhood. It's a B property in a C neighborhood. What are you looking for that it's a good candidate for a flipping project?
For me, it's all a numbers game. I don't really care if it's an A, B, or C property. All I care about at the end of the day is I'm going to make a profit. So, for example, we're rehabbing a condo in an area I would call a C area that we paid 400 for, and at the end of the day we're going to sell it for 500. My rehab costs on that are going to be 25,000, and then closing costs, and I try to make at least 50,000 from each project that I do. On single families I make more. So it really does, to me, it does not depend on A, B, or C. A, B, or C to me means that you know, and we're talking California now. We're not talking other states, but you know, for an average purchase for me is around 500,000 for a single family. Condos can be anywhere from 350 to 400. And then it goes up from there. If I go up into the B property, A property price range, we're talking, you know, A properties, you're talking into the millions of dollars. And that's an area that I don't want to be in for a couple of reasons, a few reasons. One, because it's so much money to put out for a single project. Two, because those buyers tend to be a lot pickier of a buyer,
Sure.
more demanding than the average buyer of a condominium in a 400, 500 price range. So I try to stay away from $1 million properties. I would rather do 2 or 3 smaller properties and gain the same amount of a profit from the 3 that I would do 1.
But is it usually like a 2-bed, 1-bathroom? Do you look at, okay, let's try to make it 3 beds and some add value to the property, or you usually have it stay like this and just kind of put it up to market again?
I don't do any value adds. That you're getting into more detail, contracting and permits and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of stay away from that. I pretty much, the best description I can give you is pretty much cookie cutter stuff. So
Sure.
if I buy a condominium and it's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, I try to stay away from 1-bath condos. But if it's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, or 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which is what we have now, it's really, I'm gutting out the inside. So I'm putting a whole brand new kitchen, all brand new bathrooms, flooring, painting, new windows, and pretty much that's it. And put it back on the market and move forward. Again, I don't add any bedrooms or do anything super major to the house that like remove a load bearing wall or something like that. I would not necessarily do that. I have done that, but I don't like to do that.
So, and regarding deal flow, because this looks from the first glance, this looks like a team sport, because getting deal flow by itself is already like a tough job, and marketing the property is already another job. So how do you get this into place?
Deal flow is very important to me. I do a lot of networking, and thank you for having me on this interview today.
Sure, it was a pleasure.
I believe you got my information from somebody else that I did an interview with, and I do a lot of networking. So I do a lot of networking with other real estate agents, with what we call wholesalers here. Those are, just general citizens that go out and find people that have a distressed situation, a seller, and put that property under contract. Once they put the property under contract, then they contact me because they know this is what I do for a living, and flip properties and have the money. And then they sell the property to me. Obviously, they take a profit in between, and I'm happy to pay them for that profit because, yes, I am looking for the inventory. Multiple listing service, which is the realtor's way to get properties, is another way. Courthouse steps, another way that I acquire property. So anything that's out there distress wise, or that gives me the ability to buy something that I'm going to make money on is the avenues that I use. But I do a lot of, I also have websites that I've put up, online marketing. I do Facebook advertising, anything that's going to get somebody's attention to, come to contact me and work with me.
And regarding other avenues regarding passive income, what do you have and what do you look for?
Passive income, I currently own about 15 properties that I've acquired over the last 40 years. And what you have to understand with California and most of the East Coast states is we're very cyclical. So if you were an investor, you're coming to me and you want to do some sort of buy and hold here in California, I would honestly recommend that you do not. That's why I flip. If we were talking 10 years ago when the market turned down, for example, in my local area here, I bought up 10 condominiums in a city called San Juan Capistrano. If you're not familiar with San Juan Capistrano, it's where the swallows come back every year. It's just down a short drive from where I live. It's near the coast. Anyways, as the downturn hit, I bought 10 of them. They were $100,000 each. They're back up to about $350,000 right now. So the process is you buy them low, and then at this point, I'm starting to sell off some of those, mostly because I'm getting into my later years. Let's say if I was talking to a young investor in their 20s or 30s. I would tell them to wait till the next downturn, buy as much as you can, close your eyes, don't worry about the ups and the downs, wake up when you're 60, 70 again, and then decide what you want to do with your properties, because there's one truth out there, you can't take it with you. So that's where I'm at this point. I have to figure out, okay, what do I want to do with all these profits that I've acquired over the years? So
because I had this conversation with several syndicators, and it looks to me like the current market is a little bit pricey now. Cap rates are a little bit compressed. So it's if you are buying now, you're kind of buying like on a high end. Would you agree?
Absolutely. For California, and that's where I'm an expert is California. Absolutely. And that's why I would discourage investors from buying something now that they're going to hold on to. That has nothing to do with me flipping properties. I can flip properties, and I target a 10% return. So if I take my 500,000 and I make 50,000 on my first flip in the first part of the year, and I do that 3 times during that year, I'm actually making a 30% return on my money, because it's the same 500,000. I'm using it just 3 times, and that's why I flip. It's just number one, doesn't make sense to do any buy and holds right now, because they don't pencil out, and you don't want to be in a negative tax flow situation, negative cash flow situation. So that's kind of where I'm at. I agree totally. It's not here in California, it's not a great time.
So you should be a little bit suspicious if someone is presenting a buy and hold opportunity in the high teens regarding IRRs and the rest of the metrics, right?
Absolutely. And the only thing I would say that would be any different than that is if it's a particular product that they can show that they can cash flow from it. We had a big craze with the Airbnb here because we do have Disneyland just down the street in Anaheim. But that craze is kind of gone at this point because the city has put a moratorium on doing Airbnbs. For example, again, 10 years ago, I had an investor friend of mine. He was buying up single family residences right around Anaheim. Okay. He was converting them into an Airbnb situation with a Disney theme inside the house, and he's Airbnb-ing them, and he's making lots of money doing that. The problem is that the neighbors started to complain. There was a lot of traffic going in, parties every weekend, different people. And so now the city's put a moratorium on that nobody else can do that at this point in time. So that kind of special, niche has kind of gone away. If somebody can prove to me that they have another special niche and that you can cash flow with it, and it's and it's not going to go anytime soon, I would look at something like that, but I would be extremely, extremely cautious.
And regarding your future, where you see yourself and your company going, since you already have been there, done that. So what's next for you?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I appreciate that. I am all about passing along the information that I've acquired. My business partners in the flip business are my son-in-law and my daughter. And my son-in-law at this point takes care of all the contractors because I agree, they're a big headache. I basically supply the money and the expertise, and I'm teaching them the business. And my daughter does all the designing, the listing of the property, all the paperwork, things like that. So not only am I passing this information along to them, I do pass it along to others. I teach people how to do this business if they want to do it, if they have the ability and the wherewithal. And mostly it's the drive. You just need to drive. You just need to say, I want to do this. And I'm happy to give people this information. I have no problem with that.
And when doing this project, because I've seen flipping and it's a little bit tax intensive. So what would be your advice regarding when you are calculating your profits, but paying attention to the tax side of it?
I get this question a lot, and I always tell people, don't worry about the taxes. The taxes means that you're making money. Okay, so the federal government is your partner, at least in the United States, the federal, and I'm sure around the world, the federal government is your partner in any project that you do, and you just have to live with it. In my situation, and in anybody's situation, there are ways to minimize taxes. We have what's called an S corporation, and that minimizes our taxes in a small way, not completely, but in a small way. Oops. Oh, there it is. Okay, I thought I lost you for a second.
No, okay.
It minimizes, but I always tell people, it's just real estate. It's something that you catch. It's a bug, and don't worry about paying the taxes. The taxes means that you're successful. Okay. And as far as tax advice goes, if you want tax advice and you need to go to a tax professional and go from there, I use an S Corp, but that's just to minimize a big chunk of the taxes that we have to pay.
John, if going back, if you had to give some advice to your younger self, what would be some of the things, the most important thing that you tell yourself in order to keep going?
If I had advice for my younger self, I'd tell my younger self to be way more aggressive than I was back 40 years ago. I'm a very conservative person by nature. I'm the type of guy that President Reagan said, trust but verify. That's me. I trust everybody, but boy, do I verify everything that people tell me. You kind of have to. So I would say, just be more aggressive. I did get my real estate license early, and that's because I did acknowledge to myself that, okay, I need to kind of know what I'm doing with this business. Okay. It's just like, I just bought this property and I don't even know how to manage the property. I don't even, and back then, you gotta remember back then, there was no cell phones. There was no internet. Okay. There's no, conference like we're doing now. So I said, oh shoot, what do I do? So I decided, well, let me go get my license, because that really is the only way to learn about real estate. And once I got my license, it's like, wow, it's just like eye-opening experience. And so maybe not to be as conservative as was be a little bit more aggressive. I know you could have, you could be talking to, another Donald Trump now if I was really aggressive, but I've been very conservative in my entire life.
Regarding books, what are some of your favorite books? What have you been reading lately that you like to share with our listeners?
The first book I read that really got me going is called The Power of Money Dynamics, and it's an old book. It was written by a lady by the name of Anita Van Caspel, and it was a general investing book, but it was so powerful to me. In there, she had ideas of owning real estate. She said, purchase one property a year for the next 10 years. You'll be set after that. I kind of took her at that at face value. I did more than just purchase one property a year. I purchased a lot more than that. The other things that she talked about in there were insurance, life insurance in particular. And, getting a specific type of life insurance to cover your, dependents along the way. So it was a very, very powerful book for me. As far as anything current that I've read, I'm pretty busy doing what I'm doing now, and training other people to do what I do. So I haven't sat down and kind of read something. I'm going on vacation here in a couple of weeks, so maybe I'll find a book that I can read while I'm on vacation.
Okay, and finally, where can our listeners get a hold of you if they have any further questions?
Well, my direct number is 949-625-4533. You can go on the internet and find me www.joehomes.com, and it's JOEHOMS.com. There's no L, there's no E, just JOEHOMS.com. And then you can contact me through there. I've got, email or whatever. My email is the same, joe@joehomes.com. So any of those three ways, somebody can get a hold of me.
Okay, John, thank you for being with us today. Hope to speak with you soon.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.